Hello everyone, I'm Greyshot17 and today I'm going over the Company of Heroes 3 battle groups in slightly more detail. There was a 2-hour live stream that really did kind of covering it. There'll be more details next week and hopefully I'll give you more stuff about the overall update to the game, part of its 2-year anniversary. But specifically, they played 2 multiplayer games with the Company of Heroes battle groups, each one of them 2v2 games that also showcased 2 new maps, Campbell's Convoy and Crossing in the Woods. Crossing in the Woods specifically I am more interested in because to me that's my favorite CoH3 2v2 map. So the fact they're bringing it in, great to see. Someone actually called that out in the previous video that it was highlighted along with a few other maps. I'll put the comment here so you can see them. That's speculated. Those 2 are at least confirmed, specifically stated by Relic during this live stream. And again, I can't unfortunately go into too much detail about each of this stuff because it was one replay mode. They didn't have unit descriptions or anything on those lines, so it's still hard to make out exact details. For example, let's get to the Americans. The Americans will have the 50 cal machine gun. My brain thought like, oh, what's already, no, that's a 30 cal. 50 cal is being added in along with the heavy AT gun. The 240 is actual artillery piece, artillery barrage coming down, kind of like the 240 from the armored commander from CoH3, which is just peppering the area with heavy artillery barrages. What's interesting though is the heavy AT gun coming in. From what they said, has I believe they said it has a wider arc, but it does do slightly less damage. Hopefully I'm getting that correct. It is slightly weaker, but it has an artillery component to it, which in a wider arc, which kind of makes up for maybe it's slightly less damage than the flak. Now on the flip side, if we just change things up, what is upped in armor is actually the assault half track, which I do appreciate. I do like the idea this thing can take more than 2 AT gun shots, because a lot of the American half tracks really can't take much, and there's unfortunately going to be situations where, at least in my mind, where they're going to release this and have an assault half track and it's the exact same armor value. No, they did change that, so that's good. So at least it is stronger and can take a few more hits. Unfortunately, the Pershing is not going to take as many hits as other heavy tanks. They specifically said it is the weakest heavy tank out of the group, but it still has good firepower. And the big thing about it is I believe it has 2 veterancy speed boosts that go with it. So this thing will be the fastest heavy tank easily. This thing will be highly mobile and able to move into an area, fight, and pull out at pretty good speed. So if you do find yourself in an engagement, let's say with a King Tiger or something, or an elephant, they are slower, except for the elephant. We'll get to that, but they are pretty slow, so you can manage to get out. So hey, some good stuff there, some good details all around. The Wehrmacht, on the other hand, oh boy, this is going to be controversial, but I think this is going to, well, okay, it could be either well received for everything except for the King Tiger, and not the reason why you're thinking I'm going to dislike the King Tiger, but they did showcase like the V1. It's 250 munitions and it has, I think, 11 seconds before impact. I try to count it, but the big thing about it is there's no smoke. It is going back to CoH3. It will be up for your allies. They can see like the area that it's coming down in, like the target zone, but I guess the allies versing the Axis, they're gonna have to listen to audio. Audio is gonna be a big thing about it coming in, and it is a very explosive big amount of damage. There's been some I've seen some talk about the audio for it, but to me, again, I don't have the Co-1 background, so to me it sounds fine. The propaganda comes in via plane, so it drops leaflets which will force enemy units to retreat, which is good to see. Also comes with interrogation, so you can interrogate, essentially, if you look on the battlefield anytime you engage units, models drop. You can go to a model and interrogate it. You get a small amount of veterancy, but it also reveals enemy units opposing you, so at least for a short period of time. So that's cool. At least have an idea like, oh, they're there, let's prep for attack. Or even dare I say, combine it with the Doc's mine ability, where again later on I'll mention, but they can drop mines and cover areas. So you can be like, okay, they're here, drop mines here, so at least that area is covered while they're coming in. And I'll get to more about that. The big issue that I potentially see, and this is for me personally, I know everyone's going to be differ about this, but to me, the King Tiger. The King Tiger, on its base value, is 180 fuel and 800 manpower. Now, that might sound a little familiar for those who are fans of CoH3 about, that seems like another unit, and I'll get to something that will make it more prevalent. But it's going to have the strongest main gun. Its veterancy ability will, on Vet 1, will reduce front armor attacks from, I think, any AT weapon or any damage it takes by 25%. So this thing is going to have a ton of armor. It's going to have a very powerful main gun. It will be slower, but it's going to be a beast of a unit to take down, which is what they described, especially I think Vet 3, that 25% reduction also then affects the sides. So you're really going to have to fight this thing either side or back in order to bring down this monster. And again, it does have a main cannon, so with the Pershing, you could potentially use speed to go faster than its gun and hopefully put in enough shots in its rear to bring the beast down. But the thing about it, and again, this is going to be slightly controversial for me personally about using it, the fuel. Now, I just told you it's 180 fuel, but it takes from the Tiger Ace. For those who don't know, the original Tiger Ace in CoH2 had a manpower and fuel reduction. And while it's not as severe as it is in that game, because in CoH2 it was a 25% manpower hit, and I believe like a 90, it was a ridiculous amount. It was like 90% fuel. In CoH3, the fuel deficit is 50%. You will lose 50% of your income while this king is on the field, which means you're going to want to have essentially all the armor you potentially want on the field before you deploy it. Otherwise, you are handicapping yourself greatly with this unit on the field. Again, I could see this bouncing out because it isn't as severe as the Tiger Ace in terms of its fuel. I am of the mindset that if you are going to rush for this King Tiger, right? And I think it's worth 9 command points once you go down that tree on the one side of the battle group. Once you get that, if you think you're just going to deploy this thing and are like, all right, well, then I'll get some, additional support tanks, my Panzer Force and stuff. No, you're going to want to most likely have that out first and then deploy the king. I could be wrong here, but I think it's a combat boost by if enemies retreat, they get speed and they get additional firepower boost. I think there is an ability in there, if I recall correctly from the live stream, that was able to do additional damage. So again, increasing the further terror of the situation of unit retreats, the unit gets stronger. So you may not want to do a piecemeal retreat, weirdly enough. It may be and also combine that with fear propaganda. So if a unit retreats, they get stronger. So I can definitely see some ability stacking there. But yeah, it seems like something to where it's like, oh, I'll just retreat most of them and keep a couple units. No, that unit may be immediately slaughtered by even stronger men that can chase it down slightly faster. So just keep in mind there. Me for the future. I forgot something about the Wehrmacht that just hit me in the face. Apparently the I guess machine guns can from vehicles will have an ability where you activate it and it will suppress infantry. So I think it's the Pinto machine gun. So again, like the Brumbar, the Stug, the Panzer IV, like that sort of stuff where you get that upgrade up top. I believe those can suppress infantry. Again, I wish there was a little more detail, but theoretically you could activate this ability and suppress a blob with just your panzers, not even like a flak or something that has like a suppression adjacency to it, but no, just armor. So again, a good way to keep infantry down, force them to retreat, and potentially make them stronger when of course through the other ability that can make them stronger when they run away. So I can definitely see some pros and how this faction can build upon itself. But here, let's get to the next faction. So British, of course, Crocodile, good front armor. Of course, main gun, so pretty much it's a Churchill, but it has a flamethrower on the front. And fire is the main thing. Well, you do get Canadians, which are not as good as elite infantry, but apparently they're like better than base. So like, I guess Australians would be like their equivalent. Unlike the Australians, which get like long range rifles, they get a Piat, which takes a little while to fire, but apparently very strong. And you can upgrade to that if you want, or just have the base anti-infantry. Again, that grenade launcher is going to be focused on vehicles, but you do have that option for AT, which I do find interesting. So if you do need AT, kind of like the mainline infantry section, you do have that option, just maybe not that better anti-infantry option. That'll be with the fire. which will be calling in, which apparently fire grenades. There's a 2-inch mortar that can call in fires. It's not as long range as a normal mortar apparently, but it's more mobile, so it can be more annoying toward team weapons. Which again, it can also drop fire in. And then you have an ability that makes fire even more annoying and stronger, so it is more damaging to, I think they said vehicles, but at the very least infantry as well. Plus, to boot, you have a call down on a major point that will decap it, but also they have an ability for when capturing territory, they get either healing or a free ability. So a munition ability. So healing, it will actually heal your units in combat, which I am questioning how that's gonna work, because that seems very strong for the units to be slowly healing while engaging. But hey, hopefully they can balance that right. And then secondly, they also have a free munition ability. So you can call an artillery, use a grenade, etc. Whatever the unit has for a munition ability, they can use it. Oh, and the Canadians also have the gammon bomb. So they do have an anti-infantry grenade. But yeah, overall looks pretty damn good. And then finally, we have the dock. Luckily, the elephant does not have the fuel cost in terms of the long-term cost over time that the King Tiger has, and it doesn't have the range of CoH3. I know that was a fear for people. They confirmed it doesn't have the range of the CoH3 elephant, which CoH2 and CoH3 are very different ranges for some of the tanks, so having CoH2 could be an issue. They don't have that, luckily. What they do have is an elephant that is actually historically accurate. Let me explain. When this thing deploys and gets Veterancy 1, you can have engine burnout. I swear I love this. The elephant will have a slightly increased speed, so if you're in a combat scenario and need to pull back or something, you can use it. But after a period of time, the engine burns out and it can barely move. Whoever thought of that, thank you. Thank you for having a historically accurate elephant. And for those who don't know, the elephant's engine was absolute trash. It was awful. And I love it. They put these engines in elephants, they added more armor to elephants, and the engine could barely run normal elephant. Then it would die getting to the battlefield. And even better, they're like, let's have the elephant go to Italy eventually. So yeah, this thing is going up hills and slowly killing itself. Which, again, love it. Love the fact this elephant has an ability that is like that. That's good stuff right there. Also, damage-wise, it seems like it will 3-shot a Grant from their... So it has decent damage. But if you need additional AT, Panzer squads can upgrade to a Panzerschreck, which can get First Strike, which can do even more damage. So great stuff there. You can place cheap mines all over the front line, so that could cause anti-infantry damage. You get tank traps that need to be destroyed. They can't be crushed, so they're even stronger tank traps, which is also very cool to see. What else am I forgetting? Oh, right, the mines. So you can also not only make cheap mines for anti-infantry, but you can call in mines that I believe they said can hurt infantry, but are more designed to hurt armor, of all things. So if you place mines over certain areas, you can stop potentially an armor rush. Like, oh shoot, they have armor. Let me quickly deploy some mines to my flank. So that can be really helpful in 4v4, where there's a lot more armor charges, and having like an ability to scatter mines and have anti-armor damage. That's nice. I really enjoy that. Oh, I forgot the most annoying one. You get grenade launcher half tracks. Okay, to explain, the Panzer Pioneer, hopefully I'm getting that right, gets a grenade launcher, right? Gets a grenade launcher and it fires like a noob tube. Apparently an upgrade with one of the half tracks is, oh yeah, slap one of those babies in there and you get twice the grenade launcher. So this thing is constantly firing out grenades, which can hurt infantry. It's more in armor alike. So just in your mind, think of a half track driving by and someone just constantly noob tubing you, just driving around. I want to see how that's going to play. It looks ridiculous and I love it. I'm all for it. So again, this thing is just you just hear it constantly firing grenades at the enemy. I love it. Absolutely adore that. So yeah, that's some good stuff. The King Tiger is the only one I'm hesitant about, but I understand it's such a big tank. You need a drawback for it, and I guess the fuel is the way. So we'll see if that's actually the case. But that's a quick update. Hopefully this isn't too long, but at least I wanted to provide you that information that they provide during an hour-and-a-half live stream. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, leave your comments down below what you guys think. But this has been Greyshot17. I'll see you guys next time.
Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17, and before y'all go, let me give a special shout out to Patreon supporters Joey G240, Milam, Big Cooch, Aphyria, Ace, Pyro Shark, Tonybee 95, Epic Pleb. Thank you all for your incredible support in helping me grow my channel and support my channel and everything I do. Thank you, and to the rest of you, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.